This is the story of Facebook, Part 2. The rise of Facebook. In 2004, Mark Zuckerberg was just another smart but nerdy computer science student at Harvard University. But soon he would change the world by connecting people online and making billions in the process. This is the untold story of Facebook. Our story today begins in the early 2000s. Back then, social media as we know it didn't really exist, but there were some websites that were starting to become very popular. Websites like Friendster and MySpace, where people could connect with their friends and family members, share photos and videos, and stay up to date with what they were up to. But these sites were missing something. They lacked a certain polish and professionalism. And this is where our story begins. Mark Zuckerberg was born on May 14, 1984, in Dobbs Ferry, New York. He grew up in a wealthy Jewish family and attended a private school in his hometown. From an early age, Mark showed signs of being a prodigy. When he was just 12 years old, he taught himself how to program and created a program called Zoom. This program allowed him to communicate with his family members over AOL Instant Messenger. At first, his father didn't want Mark to use his computer for anything other than school. But seeing how much Mark had progressed already, he eventually gave him permission to use the computer for other things as well. And Mark took full advantage of this privilege. He used his computer to create games and other programs that he shared with his friends. One of these programs was a digital version of the card game War. And believe it or not, this program became so popular among his friends that they started paying Mark to let them play it. Even though this was probably one of the first instances where Mark was able to make money by using computers, it wasn't enough to convince him to pursue this as a career. In fact, when he applied to Harvard, he originally intended to study international relations. However, after being accepted, he decided to switch his major to computer science. It wasn't long before Mark made a name for himself in the computer science department. He was brilliant and charismatic, and quickly became friends with several influential people in the department. One of these people was Eduardo Savarin, who became Mark's business partner in the future. Another person Mark became close with was Divya. He met Narendra in one of his classes and they immediately hit it off. In fact, they became such good friends that they started a campus organization together called the Harvard Connection. This organization was supposed to help students find romantic prospects on campus, but it never really got off the ground. You see, the technology back then just wasn't advanced enough to support such a large project. It required the kind of processing power and databases that simply did not exist back then. So the Harvard Connection never really went anywhere. But this wouldn't be the end of Mark's foray into the dating scene. Just a few years later, he would launch a website called This website would become hugely popular, but not for the reason that Mark intended. Let me explain. The idea behind FaceMash was to let students rate the attractiveness of other students. They would show them to photos and ask them to choose which one they thought was more attractive. Mark thought this would be a fun way for students to interact with each other. But he underestimated the power of human curiosity. Once people started using FaceMash, it didn't take long for the most popular celebrities on campus to appear on the site. But it wasn't just celebrities who were getting a lot of attention. Average students were also getting a lot of attention, too, especially those who were considered to be very attractive. As you can imagine, these people were very flattered to be rated highly on the site, and they encouraged their friends to sign up as well. Within a few weeks, FaceMash had become one of the most popular websites on Harvard's network. But this popularity came at a price. As you can imagine, the administration wasn't too happy about what was going on the site. They saw it as a distraction and they threatened to shut it down if Mark didn't take it down. This was a big deal for Mark, because he had no plans of continuing with the site anyway. He had just launched Facebook and all of his attention was focused there. When Mark first launched Facebook, it was only available to Harvard students. But he quickly realized that if he wanted to grow the platform, he needed to expand to other universities as well. This is why he opened up Facebook to students at Stanford, Yale, Columbia, and Cornell. These universities were carefully selected as they were some of the most prestigious universities in the country. But even with these prestigious universities on board, Facebook wasn't growing as fast as Mark had hoped. He needed to make some changes to the platform to make it more appealing to users. This is when he came up with the idea of allowing users to create profiles and share their thoughts and feelings with their friends. This new feature made Facebook much more engaging and it quickly started to gain popularity. Before long, Everyone on campus was talking about Facebook. Students were spending hours on the platform every day, connecting with their friends and sharing their thoughts. But as Facebook began to grow in popularity, it also began to attract unwanted attention. On several occasions, Mark had to fight off accusations that Facebook was a violation of privacy. There were also concerns that Facebook was becoming too powerful and that it was being used to spread rumors and gossip. Despite all of these concerns, Facebook continued to grow in popularity. By the end of 2004, it had over 1 million users. With Facebook's popularity skyrocketing, it was only a matter of time before it expanded beyond college campuses. In 2006, Mark Zuckerberg opened Facebook up to high school students, and the platform exploded in popularity. With high school students on board, Facebook quickly became one of the most popular websites in the world. By the end of 2007, it had over 10 million users. Mark Zuckerberg knew that if he played his cards right, he could turn Facebook into a multi-billion-dollar company. This is why he hired a team of lawyers and accountants to prepare the company for an IPO. An IPO is when a private company offers shares of itself to the public for sale. This allows the company to raise capital and also gives the founders a chance to cash out some of their stock. But the road to an IPO is not an easy one. Companies must meet strict requirements and undergo several months of scrutiny from potential investors before they can go public. Despite all of the hard work that went into preparing for the IPO, when it finally happened, it was worth it. Facebook's IPO raised $3 billion and made Mark Zuckerberg a multi-billion. With all of this money, Mark could finally afford to hire top talent from other companies and expand Facebook to new markets. Under Mark's leadership, Facebook became one of the most powerful companies in the world. Today, it has over 2.7 billion monthly active users and is worth over $1 trillion. But Facebook hasn't been without its controversies. Over the years, the company has been accused of violating user privacy, spreading fake news, and interfering in elections. Despite all of these controversies, Facebook continues to grow in popularity. It shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon. As you can see, Facebook's journey to the top has been nothing short of remarkable. It's a testament to Mark Zuckerberg's brilliance and hard work, but it's also a reminder that with great power comes great responsibility. Facebook has the power to connect people from all over the world, but it also has the potential to do great harm. It'll be interesting to see how Facebook navigates these challenges in the years to come. However, there is one thing that we can be sure of. Facebook is here to stay. If you found this video valuable, consider subscribing and joining our community of learners. We've got plenty of other videos that are sure to help you on your learning journey. See you next time.